All right, so I got the IRC Quickshifter and Auto Blipper for my 2007 Gsxr. So what this came with is, first it came with the blipper, and I guess this blipper has a cable that goes to the throttle, and then has a cable that goes to this actuator, which it came with along with these wires, and then it has a cable that goes to the handlebar grip, right, the twist grip. Then it also came with the module itself, and its connections, as well as the quick shifter sensor and a rod to attach those, and then the cabling that goes to the ignition coils. This connects to the module, and then these parts go to the ignition coils. So I am going to attempt to install all of this into the Gsxr, and I'm going to try my best to record every part of it. Yeah, I couldn't find any videos online detailing anybody's detailed instructions about how to install this. I think every bike is different, because the bikes that I did see online did not come with, they didn't have this actuator piece or that blipper component. They might have just came with just the quick shifter and didn't get the auto blip, but I want the auto blip because I want the ability to downshift effortlessly, and I wanted to do the blipping for me. The instructions, which I'll show later on, weren't very clear. The parts are all from Italy. I did find some YouTube videos, which I'll share in the link, and I'll share in the description, that kind of showed or depicted how this setup is supposed to work. I guess like there were some demonstrations going on in Italy where it was like, where they were explaining or showing how it was supposed to work or how it's supposed to look like. So I'm using that. I'm using the instructions as best as my ability, and just using prior knowledge. I am not a mechanic whatsoever. I mean, I do work on cars when I get the chance, but I do a lot of YouTube, and then I take a car apart, do whatever I want to do, and same for the bike. I'll take a bike apart and do what I need to do. So I'm inclined enough, but I'm absolutely not a motorcycle mechanic at all. So we will do our best to get this put together. First thing first though, I've already started just taking off the tank. I'm not gonna take the tank off, I'm just gonna lift the tank up. I'm gonna take off the back seat and then the rear seat. I'm gonna take off the seat and the rear seat, and then we'll go from there. But essentially what we're gonna be doing is gonna be removing the throttle cable from here all the way down to the throttle and replace it with that cable. And then we'll mount this onto the bike somewhere, maybe underneath the air box or underneath the air filter. And we'll have to mount this somewhere, probably in the back of the motorcycle, which is the actuator, so that when we downshift, that it will do what it is that we want it to do for blipping. So it's gonna be quite a little process. Just stay tuned and we'll see what we can do. Okay, so all I've done was remove the rear seat, remove this seat as well. I lifted up the gas tank. I didn't want to take the gas tank all the way off. I wanted to see if I could do it without doing that. This is gonna require me to wire some wires through from the front to the back, or in cables, etc., etc. So I'll see if it is challenging, then I'll go ahead and take the gas tank off, but there's gas in there. So I kind of, so let me come to this side. But there's gas in there, so kind of want to take that off. So as of right now, this is the situation. I'm going to try to lift up this air filter. take that out so that I can get to the throttle body. And once I get to the throttle body, I think I'll be able to begin. So yeah, let's see what this is gonna look like. And in order to do that, there is a hose here. You just squeeze that, drop that hose. Removing this sensor, removing that sensor, loosening that bolt, taking that out. Here on the side, you stick a screwdriver in here. There is a screw in here. Let me see if I can see it. It is right there. My finger is now touching it. But right there, right on the tip of my finger, if you can see that screw, I think it's a long screw that goes in here. We want that loosened. And then on the opposite side, there is an adjacent one that needs to be loosened as well. And once you loosen that, oh, and this hose here too, similar with just squeezing this and just pulling that off. You pull that off and the air box should lift up, and then you should be looking right at the throttle body. All right, I'm gonna take care of that real quick. Okay, so air box out, disconnected the hose, disconnected the sensors like so. This hose, I was having a little trouble disconnecting. I might just be being the P word here, but I pulled, I tugged, and she just wasn't giving away. So right now I just have the air box moved out of the way. This is a closer look at the screws that you had to unscrew from the side here. It's connected to clamps that were tightening down on top of the throttle body here. And so once you loosen that was able to just pop right up. But now what we needed was access to this throttle cable, because we're going to be removing the cable from up here and down here, and then attaching the cable that came with the Auto Blipper. Okay, so before I get to the throttle cable, I think what I want to do is wire what I can throughout the bike, through the front or the back, just how I want it. I'm gonna thread those through, and then I'm gonna save this throttle and the actuator for last, because I feel like that's gonna be probably the most difficult. So I am threading. This is the sensor, once again, that's going to be sitting here. This is the sensor that is going to be sitting here. I've already started to thread the wire through the frame. I'm going to set it underneath the tank to the back. There's a cable here, this black cable at the end that needs to go to the negative battery terminal. This is going to connect to this connector. This connector is going to connect to the ignition coils here. I'll pull that off. It'll connect to one of these connectors, and then this connector will go down there, and it'll do it for all four ignition coils across the front. Just 1, 2, 3. If I lay it out like that, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 across all four, and then this end will connect to the module, which is here, but that'll be wired to the back somewhere so that it can be close to the battery or to a negative battery terminal. Just to demonstrate real quick though, what that process will look like, if I pull off this ignition coil and then I take the first lead of here, I know I'm trying to do it with my hands, and I connect it to Okay, so ignition coils, wires, go underneath here next to the battery. I actually routed it through up here to the module, and then the module goes back down in here and connects. And then here's the piece of the module that's supposed to go to ground right next to the battery, and I'll attach that when the time comes. So right now I need to attach the Gsxr and the sensor here like that, and then the Quickshifter will be installed and good to go. The only thing left would be the blipper and its connections. All right, I am back trying to get this whole thing connected. I think my biggest problem is that these connections don't have any type of adjustment to them on this end. So when I connect it to the throttle, if you look currently, the throttle has an adjustment here, right? This is the throttle cable that I'm going to be replacing, which is the pull cable. And that cable is going to essentially be this one. However, there is no adjustment down here. So I'm thinking there has to be a single adjustment that I have to make. This is going to go all the way to the twist grip, right? Connection up there to the top. So it's going to replace this cable here coming out here. So I'm going to pull this cable out now. There's 2 bolts that's holding this whole housing together. Well, 3, right? If you include this one that you got to take out, but then you have that one right here. And then there's another one down here in the front somewhere. It's hard to see. Let me see if I get a better look. If you're looking underneath, there's another one here in the front somewhere. I think it's right here. Okay, so pull that out. See if we get that throttle piece connected. Then we'll wire up this actuator all the way to the back. I just noticed that they want me to connect these 2 red wires from the actuator. These are the instructions. They want to connect those 2 red wires to this piece, but they only gave me one. They only sent one of these little pieces to connect that wire to, because this wire is going to connect to this harness. This harness is then going to connect to the battery, and then also to the gear shifter. Well, to this cable that comes with the quick shifter. Yeah, orange to orange. All right, so what I want to do now is just disconnect the. What I want to do now is disconnect this pull cable. I really wish I wasn't doing this in the house. Follow all the way through to this twist grip, pull that off, and then I want to put in this cable. This side is going to go to the twist grip, and then this side is going to go to the throttle. So yeah. Okay, so this is the pull cable. That side was on the twist grip, and this was at the throttle. And I have removed it with the intent of replacing it with this cable. Now, side by side, they look nothing alike. This cable is gonna go to the twist grip, and then this cable is gonna go to the throttle. Now, in length, the Blipper supersedes the stock cable, but this should be able to clip right into the throttle. And then this is adjustable, so I have the ability to cut slack off if necessary. But this will go to the twist grip. So, all right, let's see if we get that installed. Got to roll on the throttle a little bit, the way the wire is connected, but the throttle is doing its job. It's snapping back. Like the return is snapping back. I feel like it's caught on this brake line, and fuck, dude, it's caught on this brake line, like from having a straight shot. So like when I put the brake line in, like roll on the throttle, valves open. I do feel like I have to come up here though to get a full like this is wide open throttle. So like if I'm starting here though, I gotta give it a little twist first, and then so it's like cable's still a little bit loose. I gotta figure out a way to maybe tighten that shit, but I honestly think I'm ready to test. Drop the air box and ready to test it. Put the battery in, everything else is wired up. All right, so I have the actuator wired up to the back. I have the Quickshifter module also wired up to the back. All connections have been made. And I have it wired through here, connecting every single cable that needs to be connected per the instructions. Everything's connected down to the battery, ground, positive. Everything's out the way. Through here, I gotta figure out what to do about this connection. This connection is what controls the throttle and actuator from here. I'll be honest, so my throttle is a little bit loose. I have to figure out a way to tighten that. I think it has to, if you see that brake line, it's like, that wire is going around that brake line, and I had to do some cutting of the wire to make the wire or just to make the wire or make the cable like tight and fit. And right now I think it's a little loose because of some stuff that I was doing to it. So I mean, honestly, I took it outside and I tested it, and I'll post those videos as well. But I was able to test, and it was actuating correctly. The first time I tried it out, I think there was some wire that wasn't connected. There was a green wire here that's supposed to go to it's in here, but there's a green wire that's supposed to go to the gear positioning switch. And if you can't put it to the gear positioning switch, you're just supposed to ground it. So I patched it just to this ground cable, and that ground cable goes to the battery. This orange wire goes from the actuator, this solenoid right here, this actuator solenoid, and connects to the Quickshifter. There's an orange wire that's a Quickshifter that connects to, so I made that connection as well. When I power the bike on, the module was able to come on, and I set the correct setting for, my method is push. So I think it was C. I might have to check back on that. So far so good. Like I said, everything works, and I'll post the test videos as well. The biggest issue I had was the throttle, and the throttle for me was just, it's loose right now. It's a little bit loose, but I have certain ways of tightening that, and I will. So yeah, any questions, just hit me up. This is the IRC Quickshifter with Auto Blip for Gsxr 750.